And welcome back to the Hyperspace My name is Sam, and as always, I'm joined by my lovely co-host, it's Michael Gosh. Michael, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. I think I've recovered after the finale we had.
Yeah, as you're talking about the Bad Batch finale, which we reviewed last episode. If you want to check that out, that'll be on our channel. But this week we're not talking about the Bad Batch anymore. That is finished for a while. We're not going to talk about it for a long time after a frustrating end. This week we are talking about Star Wars Visions. A few days ago we got a new trailer, and we thought we're going to discuss the trailer. We're going to discuss the show, go breaking down the plot or little bits of plot of each episode. And if you're new around here, remember to like and subscribe. We've worked really hard preparing this, so make sure you like and share. And let's get stuck into it. First of all, this is an animated anime show, which is bringing together some of the best studios from Japan. Michael, what is your history with anime? Are you into it? How many shows have you watched?
Well, just before this episode, I was having a quick check because I've watched a lot of anime, and I have watched about 100 or so shows and films. So I've got some knowledge of anime, and I think when we initially looked at the Star Wars shows that were coming out in the next, 3 years, I think, was what they showed at the expo thing. This was the one that I said I was really excited about because of the potential. And I was a little bit concerned about the fact they hadn't announced the studios that were going to do this. They said, what are they saying? Like industry leaders or something of anime. And you just know that they might say some of these are the best studios ever, but they might just hire absolutely no ones who you've never heard of, who've not directed anything big. But as we're going to talk about, they have actually hired and have got really good studios on this. And the trailer looks really good. And I have a bit of history with anime, but I guess the question is, what's your history with anime then?
My history with anime, Michael, is extensive to say the least. No, to be honest, I haven't watched it in years. My history of it really is as a kid. I used to watch Pokemon. It's quite generic. Everyone watched Pokemon at some point. I couldn't even tell you which series because I basically just watched a few, like loads of series, and they all mashed into one of my brain. But one of my favorite shows, which during the research, I suddenly remembered, I watched the theme tune, brought back so many memories, is Bakugan Battle Brawlers. Now, that show was elite. I remember I used to have toys where you throw the toy and it would turn into a little monster or one of the characters. And that was such a great show, that one of my favorite as a child, and it's so great that this show, just doing the research for it, has brought back that great memory. And partly that show has made me really hyped for this because I've remembered how sick anime can be. But let's get into a few of the details about this show. So it's going to be released on September the 22nd. We're not sure if all episodes are coming out at once or it should be a one a week or how they're formatting. We think it's going to be all at once at the moment, but we're not completely sure. There are 7 Japanese anime studios. Those are Geno Studio, Kamikaze Dauga, Cinema Citrus, Production IG, Science Saru, Studio Colorido, and Trigger, which we'll talk about a bit later. It's going to be an anthology show. It's not going to be canon, but it takes place in the Star Wars universe, which is awesome because they literally have the freedom to do whatever they want with it within the Star Wars universe, which I think, to be honest, is the dream. I mean, imagine getting given the budget to go, right, this is set in the Star Wars universe, not canon. You can do what you want with it. I mean, Michael, that is probably our dream, isn't it?
I think when we initially talked about this, and I had said I don't think this was going to be canon, you were initially a little bit skeptical because it wasn't, the details weren't clear about whether it was going to be a anthology series or not, and how it was going to work. But I think, especially now we've seen it and we've seen what they're doing with their freedom and the budget, it is a dream. And I think, like you said, this is the sort of dream we want to be living. Give us an unlimited budget, 30 minutes to do something in the set in the Star Wars universe that isn't canon. I mean, the possibilities of things you could do are, unlimited, and especially as they're able to play with anything along the timeline they want to, or outside the existing timeline.
Yeah, no, it's going to be very interesting, and I'm very excited for it. In terms of, you mentioned the length of the episodes there, and we're not really sure how long each episode it'll be. I think it's dependent on each episode. I reckon it will be between 30 minutes to an hour each episode. I don't think anything will run over that. Yeah. But who knows? Maybe some will.
I mean, I think I'm guessing, especially as they would have had to hire these studios out, I'm thinking it's going to be like 25 minutes to like 30 minutes. Maybe like there'll be, like you said, it'll be a case by case basis where some studios will have like a 45-minute slot or an hour slot, but I don't think it'll be longer than that. But I think this is going to lean towards the same time length as like the Marvel What Ifs, because it's a similar sort of idea where there's I guess non-canon, although we'll say non-canon with
What If has been confirmed as canon,
to be
Michael.
Canon now. Yeah, it has, but it's in like a multiverse now. So you know what I mean? It's the most similar example we have, and I do think, like you said, it's likely to be about half an hour to an hour, but like you said, likely to be case by case probably. I think they would have, the whole point was to give them the creative freedom to do what they want with the time. So I'd imagine they're given a variable amount of time depending on what they wanted to do.
Yeah, well, one of them will definitely be around an hour, I'm pretty sure, because this series was meant to be 10 episodes, but then they decided to cramp it down to 9 and put 2 of the episodes, put them together in one and make it a longer episode, but it makes more sense coherently. So there'll definitely be one that's quite around an hour, maybe longer. But the rest, I reckon, case by case basis. But we'll talk about that specific episode later. It's fair to say I've been looking online at people's reactions to this, and I've seen a lot of anime fans, a lot of them who don't like Star Wars, who are very excited for the show. Admittedly, when I see the anime studios, I am completely clueless. However, all the people who love anime are looking at them and saying, this is an incredible lineup. And from the trailer, they are saying that they're really looking forward to it.
I think I'm, somewhat of an anime fan. I wouldn't recognize the studio names, but now we were having, doing the research. I recognize a lot of the work. I've either heard about it or I've seen it of the studios they're doing, that I've been hired for this. And the thing is, from all of the studios that I've seen something, I've liked what I've seen. And I think that's promising. It's not necessarily guaranteed for success, but like you said, it's not just bringing in Star Wars fans who will watch it anyways, because I mean, we watched, Star Wars fans honestly will watch anything at this point. I think, especially as there's this void until the book of Boba Fett, until that hits, and that's December, which means this is the only thing we've got for now. So I think a lot of people who've bought Disney Plus for this and Marvel will watch this. And I think the fact it's bringing in like this new anime crowd, I guess, is like really good for Star Wars, I think, because it might give a bit of an injection of, I guess, new enthusiasm to the fan base who will be approaching this, like you said, like from, I guess, at least just an anime perspective, which I guess says a lot about the studios that are involved in this and the trailer itself, that it's not just the Star Wars fans who are excited about this, but there are fans who aren't Star Wars fans who are excited for this.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of the point of this is bringing new fans to the to the Star Wars universe, and that can only be a good thing, really, injecting more enthusiasm and life into our fan base. Like, I completely agree. And it's just, yeah, I think it's very promising. But let's move on to our thoughts on the trailer. The trailer came out the other day, and my thoughts are that it looks a lot better than I thought it would.
Yeah, I think this honestly the same, because when we talked about this, I was worried it would be some god awful CGI, because I've seen some and it's not good when it's done badly, CGI animation. And the studios that are using the CGI animation are good at it and have done good stuff with it, and either doing it on its own or blending it with like hand drawn stuff. And what we've seen from the trailer, which was a bit from each episode, if I believe it was a bit from every episode, looks good. Every single different animation style, like all of the animation looks so smooth. It just looks so nice.
Mm.
I think the thing is, even if the stories are not able to tell that much, I think the visuals are going to be worth the watch anyways. And I think especially like I guess for you, as someone who's not watched much anime at all, really, I think it will also be like a good experience for like people who are like Star Wars fans who haven't watched anime as well. I think it's a bit of it works both ways, sort of.
Yeah.
As in, like, the studios will be introducing their work to, I guess, a new fan base as well.
Yeah, it's definitely a mutual agreement. It's beneficial for Star Wars. It's beneficial for the studios. I think that when I heard of this project, I already knew that there were going to be some animation styles I liked and some I maybe didn't get on with. However, seeing the trailer, I still think there'll be maybe one or two episodes that I maybe will be like, I'm not really a fan of that. However, a lot of the stuff in the trailer, I was like, I quite like this. There's definitely a lot more that I saw that I liked than I didn't like, and it's given me a lot of promise. And one of the things that really stood out from the trailer for me was there's going to be an episode in black and white, apart from the lightsabers and like the lasers, which are going to be in color. And seeing the part from the trailer for that, it looked so cool. We're pretty sure that's going to be from the Duel, which is supposedly episode 1 if you go off Wikipedia. But yeah, it looked so cool. You had this droid with a machine gun, and then you had a lightsaber fan thing. I don't really know how to describe it, but we will definitely link the trailer in the description below. But it just looks really cool.
I mean, I saw a still image with a gonk droid that was like serving, like had like a pot of tea on top of it.
Yeah.
And like, I'm pretty sure I saw like an astromech with a straw hat. And it just, I love the fact that it's sort of, they're like telling these like stories in, like they're using there's a lot of Japanese influence, but in the like with like a like taste of Star Wars, or like in the Star Wars universe. There's a sort of like very nice blend, like you said, like, and he's like dressed like fully like a samurai as well.
Yeah.
And like the black and white as well, like really evokes those like old samurai movies and stuff. That like the bits we saw, and especially like the lightsabers being in like colored, is gonna look so nice to watch.
Yeah, a lot of what Star Wars originated from was a lot of the inspiration George Lucas took was from these like Japanese or these samurai like fighting, and a lot of the Mandalorian as well definitely has these connotations with that. So it's cool that we finally get something which is like pretty much going to be a Star Wars samurai thing, but in animation.
Yeah, like you said, the Mandalorian. I was thinking of the episode The Jedi.
Yeah.
That's like, I think the thing is, especially as it's was it like Star Wars is influenced by westerns as well, which are just a lot of like spaghetti westerns were basically just copies of samurai movies. And it kind of reminded me of this film Yojimbo, which is what's it called? Fistful of Dollars with Clint Eastwood in it. They're the same film basically, and it's about this guy who's sort of like in the middle between these two like factions, and he doesn't commit to a side until right at the end. And the Mandalorian pretty much does the same with the Magistrate and Ahsoka. He's leaning one way completely, and you can see that, but neither of them know entirely. And I love that, because it's just like, it might be like a small Easter egg, but like now we get like this full like samurai, like it's not just one episode that's going to be like this. It's a couple of them have this very like samurai influence, and they all look really good, and they're all very different. Like you said, like I think that's going to stand out the most, is that, and some of the there's a few of the other ones that also have very unique art styles. And we can talk about the the studio as well in a little bit, but that animation style, it's it really stands out. And like, I guess the thing is, we'll have to see if the episode's good, but I think we both think this one will be a smash hit, really.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the episode now. That's the first episode I've got down. The Duel, which is by Kamikaze Dalga Studio. First of all, I'm going to seem really naive when talking about studios, but Michael, you know some of the stuff that each studio has done. Tell us a bit about Kamikaze Dalga.
Well, this is one of the ones that I don't know too much. I mean, I don't know too much about all of them, but one of the things they did, which I hadn't realized was theirs, was the Batman Ninja movie, which is actually pretty good. I mean, I really enjoyed it. It's on Netflix, and it was on Netflix at least, and it was pretty fun. And the other thing that I think they're probably more famous for is they do the opening scenes for JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, or have done, and I think that's quite a good sample for how they're going to do the animation style, where it's this CGI hand-drawn blend. It's like a 50-50, and it's not just that, but it's also, they've got the, like you said, the black and white style on top of that, with just the colors for highlighting the lightsabers and a few other things I think they'll color.
It's going to be an interesting one. We talked about the trailer and how the main bit that definitely caught my eye, and I think caught your eye, is from the Duel. In terms of plot, there are some episodes we know more about than others. This is one of the ones we don't really know much about. What we know is that it's going to follow an unnamed Sith known only as Ronin, heading towards a terrifying fight. That is all we know about episode 1, which is the Duel. Michael, tell me, what does that make you think?
It's just really interesting. Like I said, I think from even just the bits we've seen from the trailer, and the bits we hit, the studio itself, I think it's just an exciting prospect, especially as it looks so good. And I guess the only thing I think it's going to apply to all of these, we don't know very much about, is the actual plots. But there's a lot of there's bits and pieces we've heard about what the influence is, or what kind of style the story style will be. So it's I'm excited for this one. What about you?
Yeah, I definitely think this is one of the ones I am anticipating most. If it's what most people say and it's the first episode, with the series, which is very 50-50 on whether people are going to watch it or not, it needs to start with a bang, because a lot of the time what people go off of whether a show is good or not is the first episode. So it has to start with a bang. And to be honest, with what I've seen of it, I think it will do that. I think it's probably second in my most anticipated episodes. But yeah, I think it's going to be really good, and I'm really excited about it. But yeah, let's move on to episode 2. This is the order on Wikipedia. Hopefully it's right. I'm pretty sure it is. So episode 2, I've got as Lop and Oko. This is by Geno Studio. So Michael, could you tell us a bit about Geno Studio?
So Geno Studio is one of the ones I actually don't know too much about. But what I do know is they have done quite a few things, but there's nothing I've actually seen from them. So it's kind of a mystery as to whether they're going to be good or not. But the episode in question looked promising.
Yeah, it definitely looks interesting. So in terms of plot, it follows Oko, the daughter in a space yakuza, which is a gangster / crime family, as she meets Lop, a rabbit hybrid alien. Sounds pretty out there. This episode explores futuristic technology and combines it with a realism and found family tropes of a classic anime film set between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope.
Yeah, I mean, that just sounds interesting, doesn't it? I mean, there's not too much to say except from it sounds like it's going to be promising. I think the same with all of these. We don't know too much, but the clips we saw look good. That were from that one.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
a rabbit hybrid alien sounds interesting, but in like anime, it's you have stuff that's pretty out there anyway, and also it's the Star Wars universe. I mean, it's the most diverse universe. You have creatures and beings that look ridiculous anyway. If anything, out there animation will fit in to the Star Wars universe perfectly, just because of the diversity of it. And I think this episode could be good. I'm not really sure whether a lot of these episodes, this is the one I'm like 50-50 on about whether it will be good. From reading the plot, it has potential, but I also have a few things holding me back. I'm not sure it'll be my favorite episode, but yeah, definitely excited to see what will come. And let's move on to episode 3. I've got as Tatooine Rhapsody. That is by Studio Colorido. Michael, is Studio Colorido one of the studios you've heard a lot about?
It's one of the ones I've seen a couple of things from. One of the things I've seen from them, which is a Netflix film, is a Whisker Away, and the other one is Burn the Witch. And I think the thing I think especially from Whisker Away, is a lot of the backgrounds are going to be really pretty. They're going to just be nice looking backgrounds, and the animation is going to be really nice. But yeah, I think like I said, with a lot of these studios, as I've seen some of the work from them, and I think this especially this episode just sounds really like you said, it could be a 50-50, but it's at least an interesting idea. And I think the animation suits the idea, the style they've gone with.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, this is probably the episode I'm looking forward to most. I think it could fall flat on its face completely, but I'm just really excited about it. So talk about the plot. So it brings back Mos Espa Circuit, but this time there's no pod racing. There's a rock concert. The episode is described, as you said, as a rock opera, and will have appearances from Jabba the Hutt and Boba Fett. So not only is it a studio which has this really nice animation. I mean, in the trailer, the bit we saw from Mos Espa Circuit, I saw that and thought that is probably the most visually pleasing animation of all the trailer, in my opinion. And to combine that with appearances from Jabba the Hutt, Boba Fett, fan favorite characters, on top of that, Tamura Morrison is voicing Boba Fett. So we've got a man we absolutely love being one of the voice actors as well. And it's it's a rock opera. I mean, that could be amazing. It could be really bad, but for some reason, I know it's not anime, but when seeing it reminds me of one of my favorite shows as a kid, which was Sonic Underground, which was where they all had instruments, and it was kind of like a rock opera. If you haven't seen it, I recommend it. I don't know where you can watch it anymore, but it gives me good vibes, this one, and I'm really looking forward to it.
I'm sure you can find it by sailing the high seas, as people say.
Yeah, I'm sure I can. What do you think about
I
the
think
rock opera?
it's honestly, I'm like you said, this is the one I'm like, either this might be this one I'm second most excited for, or it's certainly up there, even though it's a 50-50 whether it'll fall on its face, but if it doesn't, it's going to be amazing. Like, it's either going to be amazing or it's going to be a complete failure, and this kind of excites me because if it's a failure, it'd be hilarious. But I honestly, it's a sort of thing that an anime could pull off, to be honest.
Yeah,
Like,
100%.
this concept is the sort of thing an anime is designed to pull off, which is why I'm like quite excited for it.
Yeah. No, I really have high hopes. If it lets me down, I'll be gutted. But yeah, I definitely have high hopes. Let's move on to the twins, the first of two episodes which are being created by the studio Trigger. Michael, first of all, the twins episode is being done by Trigger, and so is the Elder. Tell us a bit about Trigger. Apparently, from what I've heard from you and other people, this studio are very well known and provide some quality anime.
Yeah, it's they're a big deal. I mean, I haven't seen much of their work, but I have seen one of them, which is B&A, which is a brand new animal. But the other ones they've done is Kill la Kill and Darling in the Franxx, which are like a lot of people love and rave about. And there's like a certain style, and I think this is one of the, I think both of the two episodes they're doing are the ones that I'm most excited for because of the studio, because I have faith it'll be good. And the other one they've done I actually have seen is Little Witch Academia. So they've done like a mixture, like a very big mixture of like styles and themes and genres of anime. So I think the thing is their two episodes are going to be very different from what I understand.
Yeah,
the mood's going to be different from what I understand, and what the names suggest, at least they're going to be very different, and they look very different as well.
Yeah, I mean, they're as well as them looking different, they're set at completely different times of the Star Wars timeline. I mean, first of all, I'll talk about the twins. It's set after episode 9, where the Empire has been vanquished by the Resistance. The remnants of the Imperial army have raised a pair of twins on the dark side of the Force, and the story goes from there. I'm pretty sure, having seen the trailer, this is one. What I'm getting from the plot and what I've seen is that one of the twins will turn to the light side and try to bring the other twin with them. And I feel like this is the one we see in the trailer, which is outrageous. The two characters having a battle over 2 Star Destroyers. I think they're standing on 2 Star Destroyers. I think this is from this episode. But Michael, are you excited? Are you excited about this plot? What do you think might happen?
Honestly, this is the one I'm the most excited for, to be honest, because of the art style, and they're pretty sure they're like outside the Star Destroyers and like on top of them and stuff. And
yeah,
I just think this is it just looks so insane, and it's so colorful and bright and striking, and I'm just really excited about it. And I don't know, I think, especially with the studio attached to it, I know it's going to be good as well, and so I'm not too worried about it letting me down. And I think, like you said, there's this sort of like the twins, and by the sounds of it, they're both Sith, but we see them fighting, so it sounds like one of them will turn to the light side, and I think it'll be interesting to see how they do it and the length of the episode they can do it in, because that's the sort of plot I will imagine will take, longer than a 30-minute slot. It's more like a 40-minute episode. And I think as well, like you said, I think this is the one that I think a lot of, you said, like, anime fans are excited for because of the studio itself, is these two episodes. And so yeah, I think this is the one that I'm the most excited for from what I've seen, especially as we've seen quite a bit of it in the trailers. It was highlighted quite a lot in the trailers, so we've seen quite a bit of it, or a lot more than maybe the other ones.
Yeah, we've definitely seen a lot of it. I mean, with it being it's set after episode 9. You're not a massive sequels fan, and I feel like there might be mentions of the Resistance. There might be a few little references to the sequels. I mean, Michael, does that put you off at all?
Nope, not at all. I don't hate the sequels at all.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're lying.
I just hate them a lot. But I think the thing is, that time period hasn't been explored, and so it'll be interesting to see what they do. And I guess the thing is, it's not going to be that heavy. I think because they're trying to tell their own story, a lot of these episodes, even if they have got a specific time period they're set in, are going to be very independent from what else is going on in the galaxy, especially from the plots we've talked about. All of these characters are original characters with cameos from, like in the case of was it Tatooine Rhapsody, from Boba Fett and Jabba the Hutt. I think the main thing is they're doing their own little self-contained stories.
Yeah. What would you do if if Rey rocked up in the twins?
Honestly, I think the twins would take her from what I've seen from the twins.
You just, within the first minute, you see Rey like standing on Tatooine, and then all of a sudden, just like the twins on the dark side just submerge on her.
Honestly, considering this is anime, I wouldn't be surprised they just start throwing Star Destroyers at her. That's the kind of level. Like, what's that? Is that Star Killer? He did that in The Force Awakens. I'm pretty sure he throws like Star Destroyers. That's the kind of thing I'm expecting. Either that kind of spectacle, or like even small things are going to look so nice in, like, with some of the animation styles. I don't know which one it was, but one of them is like set during the Empire, and I don't know what it was which episode it was. Sorry, but it was a still of the like, I guess, like a hangar, a door, and just cherry blossom like falling through it. And I don't know what it is about that image, but that episode, when I see it, I'm gonna be so excited to see that episode because it looks so nice. And I think that's the case with a lot of these episodes. Is a lot of it hinges on how they look, not just the story.
Yeah, I feel like that will be Lop and Oko, because that is set between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope. So
it's possibly that one. I cannot remember which one it was, but I saw that image, and that looks so nice. And there's a few other stills I've seen from the show, like the astromech with the straw hat, where they're just such wacky things, or just such nice looking things that we've never seen in Star Wars before.
Yeah, completely.
I think that sets the tone for what this show's going to be.
Yeah, I think it will as well. Let's move on to the other episode by Trigger Studio, titled The Elder. This time it's completely other end of the spectrum. The twins are set after episode 9. This is set between The Phantom Menace and is meant to be a prologue. So it's not that much is known about the plot. It follows a Jedi and a Padawan as they encounter a mysterious foe. So not really giving much away there. But it is Studio Trigger's co-founder, Mashiko Otsuka. Hopefully I haven't butchered that name a lot. His last project before retiring. And when you're working for a studio like Trigger, a massive studio, you're going to go out with a bang. I mean, this episode, surely he will do everything to ensure this is amazing.
I don't know why, but you saying about him retiring kind of reminds me of Hayao Miyazaki from Studio Ghibli, where he every film he does, he's like, "This is the last film I'm doing. This is the last film I'm doing." That was like 2000. Was that Howl's Moving Castle? I can't remember when that was, like 2003. Then he does Ponyo 2008, so on and so forth, and he's still doing things now. And I don't know why, just anime directors. Sometimes when I hear last project, I do wonder if they're actually going to have a last project because of that. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I again, Studio Trigger, the animation style is very different, and I think, was it this one? The Elder, right? This was described as like a period drama, and like for the plots, just very intriguing. This, the idea of this like Padawan and Master be an unknown enemy, and I guess I think this is going to be like quite like a slow paced episode where there's like this sort of mystery to find out like that they're maybe either tracking something or they're trying to figure out what something is.
So
and then they meet.
Potentially like a bit of Hercule Poirot, a bit of a mystery with the two trying to figure it out.
Well, that's a deep cut. Poirot. It's been a while since I watched Poirot.
That is a legendary show. But yeah,
it is.
Going back to the episodes, we in Star Wars normally when a Padawan is involved. I mean, I know this is like pretty a very generic take, but when a Padawan's involved, it normally means it'll be a good episode. I'm basing that mainly just off Ahsoka and how amazing Ahsoka was. Sure, hopefully this can emulate some of the great episodes she is in. I mean, Master and Padawan dynamic is one that's, I don't know, it always seems to go well in Star Wars. I mean, Anakin and Obi-Wan's relationship's great. We have Ahsoka and Anakin's relationship. Even
Ahsoka and Obi-Wan's relationship's pretty good as well.
Exactly. So we normally have success with the Padawan and Master relationship. Do you think that's something that's going to be, I don't know, do you think that'll be a main part of this episode and that'll like be good? I don't really know how to describe it.
I think like you said, this Master Padawan relationship has been explored quite a lot, especially think of like Barriss Offee and Luminara in that Geonosis episode. And I think actually that's a really good episode for what we're talking about, because you see the contrast in their relationships. And that episode, I think the whole Geonosis arc, both the second invasion and the we'll call it as Geonosian zombie.
Yeah.
We call them zombies, right? I forget. I'm not sure. Well, I'm sure there's a Wikipedia, correct way of saying it, but let's go. We call them zombies, right? Both of those arcs are very good and highlight the difference in their Master Padawan relationship. And I think, and even like Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon Jinn, I think that's, we see that in the Phantom Menace. I think it's one of the best bits of the Phantom Menace is their relationship and how different they are, but also how much they respect each other's differences. I guess even if Obi-Wan's a bit brash and sort of doesn't always quite get Qui-Gon, I think sometimes he does respect the fact he doesn't listen to the council, because sometimes they are wrong. Well, all the time they're wrong, but in his opinion, sometimes they're wrong. And like you said, they've got the interesting opportunity to develop two brand new characters in a brand new relationship, which could be very different to what we've seen so far, or could be similar, but because of the characters is different. I think, like you said, it's got a lot of promise, because I think this is going to be a slower episode as it starts, and there'll be some sort of mystery as to, either where or what this unknown enemy is.
Yeah.
And I think that will have the time to develop this relationship, even though this will only be one episode. I think if that's what they focus on, I think this could be one of the best episodes. The animation style looks amazing, and I think developing something like that relationship, it's one of the things about Star Wars, I think, is one of the, most interesting, and one of the areas that hasn't been explored in quite some time because of the fact we've moved away from the prequels quite a lot now.
Mm.
The only foot in the door with the prequels we have is the Bad Batch, and that's more now original trilogy, I think, a bit more so.
Yeah.
It's escaped from the nature of the prequels, and the universe it established until after, until Revenge of the Sith, really. And I think having that relationship highlighted will be really interesting if that's how they choose to do it. And like you said, I don't know what it is, but like you said, every single time there's a master Padawan relationship, it's just really good content. Like in the Phantom Menace, that is one of the things I like about it, is how Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon Jinn interact with each other.
Yeah. No, Qui-Gon Jinn was such a great character. I really wish he was in more Star Wars, especially Liam Neeson. What a great actor! You mentioned Luminara and Dooley and Barasofi there. They are two of my least favorite characters in Star Wars.
Same.
I just really dislike them, but I don't think
you're meant to.
I don't think you're meant to like them, really.
No, you're supposed to just dislike Luminara because she's so cold, and Barris for betraying Ahsoka. I feel like I think a lot of the fact that's highlighted, their relationship is highlighted, really helps the fact that sells Barris off as like betraying the Jedi so well, is the fact you've seen how like cold Luminara was, and so that she has like no one to talk to except from Ahsoka. Whereas Ahsoka has like Anakin or Rex or Obi-Wan or even like Yoda. So she's got like, 2 or 3. I mean, she loses Yoda, but like even Obi-Wan doesn't really want to let her go, but he believes in the council too much. But she had Anakin who believed in her the entire time, whereas Luminara didn't have that.
Yeah, completely.
And I think, like you said, like I said, I don't think you're meant to like them, to be honest.
No, I don't think you are. Going back to the Elder, the last thing I'll say on it is the voice cast for the English dub is really strong. You have David Harbour, who's in Stranger Things, and he's definitely one of the good things about the new Marvel film Black Widow. He plays the Red Guardian in that, and he's really strong in that. He's an actor I like, and I'm guessing he will play the Jedi, and then you've got Jordan Fisher in it as well, who I'm guessing will play the Padawan, who I know, at least, this sounds really, really bad, from Teen Beach Movie and The Flash. Or the Flash TV show, I might add. But yeah, when you're known from Teen Beach Movie, I'm not sure if that's a particularly positive thing. If you like the films, then probably is. He's also in iCarly and Liv and Maddie. So if you're into that Disney shows, Nickelodeon show kind of thing, which I am, and that's why I know him from that, then this is the episode for you, episode 5. Put it in the diary. But yeah, let's move on to episode 6, The Village Bride, which is by Cinema Citrus. Michael, could you just tell us a bit about the work that studio's done?
Yes. Cinema Citrus is famous for doing Made in Abyss, which is a show I haven't seen, but I've heard very, very good things about it. And we haven't seen too much from this, and the name, I think the name's really intriguing, and I'm curious what they're going to do with this plot. And I think the art style looks really nice, so I'm quite excited for this. But then this could be a complete flop and go nowhere. I think it's a 50-50, but I'm hopeful.
Yeah, I'm completely the opposite. I think I'm looking forward to this one the least. I mean, The Village Bride potentially sounds intriguing. However, what I've seen from the plot just sounds quite strange and not maybe my cup of tea. So the plot that we know is centered around a wedding on an unknown planet with action-packed results. I'm not really sure what to make of that. I mean, what can you break down from that, Michael?
I don't know, but honestly, I don't know why, but that actually sounds like it's got potential. I don't know. I don't know what it is about that. It's just something very different for Star Wars. So like, I'm like, totally with you. This could be complete rubbish, right? But if it's good, this could be one of them. What something so different, something we've never seen in Star Wars, and I think that's why I'm excited for this. It's the
Yeah,
hope this is going to be good, and if it is good, it's going to be completely different to any of the other stuff. You know what I mean? Like all of them are so different from each other. Even the ones that seem similar. Like the Duel sounds like it could be similar to the one we were just talking about, the
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 Elder.
the Elder. Yes, the Elder. They both sound like they could be very similar, but then when you really go into it, they are very different, and the art style is very different, and what they're trying to accomplish with it is very different. And so
Mm.
even the episodes that are similar are like extremely different. So I'm hopeful this will be another case where it's going to be extremely different but really good, just very out there. But like you said, there's quite it might not be your cup of tea, but we'll have to see if it's any good, because it might be the case that it's really good, but who knows. I
Mm.
think we'll have to just wait until it comes out.
It's definitely one of those episodes that sounds really weird, but anime can pull it off. It sounds
Yeah,
very anime,
I think
and
I think that's why I have faith in it, is because it's the sort of weird stuff that
mm,
I think a lot of maybe like you saying it's like you don't think it'll be very good is like the fact you have to consider this as anime, where like the weirder something sounds, the more likely it could be pulled off well because it's in anime. And I think it's the sort of thing where if done right, which it could be done really well, and the studio has done really good things.
mm,
Like I said, Made in Abyss is supposed to be really good, and I keep getting recommended it.
yeah, need to watch it, Michael.
So many shows to watch, not enough time.
I mean, I'm completely the same. Let's move on to episode 7. And episode 7 and 8 are being created by the same studio, and that studio is Science Saru. Um, and the episode 7 is called it. I'm going to butcher this, Akikiri, and episode 8 is called TOB1 or Toby. But yeah, Michael, can you tell us about the studio involved with these projects?
I haven't seen any of the work of the studio, but I have heard of one of the films, which is The Night is a Short Walk on Girl, which I think is on Netflix at the moment. It's another one of those cases where I've been told it's good and I've heard it's good, but I haven't actually watched it. But I don't know too much, and I've heard it's very strange.
Mm.
But I
So,
get yeah.
so we're gonna get some strange vibes from these episodes, maybe.
Yeah, I think possibly this is also gonna, it's gonna be like just like just weird or like quite wacky.
Mm. Well, wacky stuff can be pulled off.
Mm.
Let's have a look at the plot. So, Akiri, which I'm just struggling to say flat out, is supposed to be a firm. I can't even pronounce the word I've written down there. A love story between a Jedi and a princess. I mean, we've seen that
Mm.
before in Star Wars. Um, we've seen Padme, who's not a princess, but she's a senator. So similar vibes. And Anakin, and we get Luke Skywalker and Princess Leia kissing in Empire Strikes Back. So we have, even though it's a bit dodgy, Luke and Leia kiss, we have about 5 to 10 seconds of a love story between a Jedi and a princess. That is literally all the plot we have to go on for this. I there is definitely, they could go anywhere with this. I know we've talked about a bit about it's going to be a love story, but so many shows are basically love stories. Literally anything could happen.
I think, I guess the thing is also, we've got to consider this is anime, anything can happen. This is Star Wars, again, anything can happen.
Yeah.
I think, I honestly think this is actually quite an exciting idea. Again, it's just something we haven't seen from Star Wars, really. Like you said, we've seen it, but we've never seen it in like an episodic standalone format where that's the premise.
Yeah.
We've had things with similar vibes, and I think the thing is that's going to be the main focus of the episode by the sound of it, if that's what they've talked about. And the whatever else goes on will be like to serve that purpose, to serve the purpose of that like romance. So I guess this is going to be something very strange, and I think maybe this will be one of those things where it's a hit or miss for some people, where it's either going to be their thing or it's not going to be their thing. And honestly, this is another one I'm very excited for, because I think I'm excited for the weirder stuff, like Tatooine Rhapsody, just because that's such an out there thing to do.
Yeah.
And I think it's just a case where this is a similar feeling for me. Whereas like and like the last one, where it's just such a weird, like, it not weird, but weird that they're doing it like that, and that's the focus, because it's not something Star Wars has ever only focused on or been the main focus. I think this is one of those things where it just could be very interesting because of that, and because we want to see different stories being told by Star Wars. And I think it gives them a lot of, again, because it's not canon, there's a lot of creative freedoms with it, and I guess also because they're standalone and they're not contributing to anything, they also have got a lot of room to do what they want with their story. So we'll have to see, but yeah, I'm really excited for this one, actually.
Yeah, I mean, it seems very hit or miss. I mean, we've described most episodes like this. In truth, the whole show could be great or could be rubbish, or it could be a mix of some episodes, which is most likely some episodes are great, some episodes aren't. So, and a lot of it, to be honest, will depend on your interpretation. If you're coming into it as a Star Wars fan, you might like some, not others. If you're coming as an anime fan, you might like all of them. You might not none. Like it really depends. But yeah, this is one of the ones which I'm not really sure on. Not too excited, but willing to be pleasantly surprised. I mean, it's got a good cast. You've got Henry Golding, who's in Crazy Rich Asians, Jamie Chung, who's in The Hangover 2 and 3, which isn't really an incredible discography, but she's in a lot of other things. And George Takei, who is in pretty much every movie ever created, but is most well known for Star Trek. And he's actually, this is a bit of research, he's actually making his second appearance in the Star Wars universe, as he voiced a character in Star Wars The Clone Wars, specifically episode Defenders of the Peace. He voices General Lockderd, and it's pretty cool that they've got an actor who's done some stuff before. I mean, there's a lot of legendary actors and a lot of actors who have been involved in Star Wars projects before that you might not realize, but it's cool to have someone that's actually coming back from a show that we love, like Clone Wars.
Yeah, and I think, again, with a lot of voice actors, and I saw Joseph Gordon-Levitt up there as well, who actually has done some was he The Wind Rises? So he's done it's The Wind Rises he's in. So he's done anime voice acting before as well. So it's very promising cast, and I think the fact they could get quite like really big names of big studios in there. These aren't just like, I guess, voice actors, which is not an insult, but voice actors will do TV shows, but these are like film actors in particular, and normal live action actors. Says quite a lot about the direction they want to go with this show. This isn't just some sort of side piece for them. This is like actually like quite a focus, and that just hearing that list, the fact they could get that list in makes me very excited.
Yeah, it might be that I don't watch enough movies and I'm quite naive to a lot of actors, but when I see a cast list of people who are in an episode and it has people I recognize on or people who have been in stuff that I've seen, it definitely makes it a lot more promising. So there's episodes here that I'm more excited for because of the cast. This is probably one of them. The plot doesn't really, I don't know, excite me that much, but the cast does, and just knowing that there's people in it that I know.
Yeah, and I think it goes a long way to, like, I guess, ease us into, like, I mean, we're saying that this could be hit or miss, but that's based on pretty much nothing. We haven't seen very many, we haven't seen any trailers for each individual episode. We've only seen small clips of each episode, and we can tell it's each episode, and we only know very little about each episode and the direction it's going to head into. So a lot of when we're saying this is hit or miss is based on the premise, if that makes sense. So I guess it's also the hope that these are going to be good, because a lot of the ones we're saying are hit or miss, we want them to hit because they sound amazing. It's just I guess a question of whether they're going to pull it off or not. And when you hear the cast they've got, it makes it more likely they're actually going to, like, get there and they're actually going to be really good. And that's what we want, really.
Yeah, completely. Let's talk about episode 8, second to last episode, called TOB1 or Toby. This is the second episode by Science Saru, the studio we just talked about, and the plot is described as a feel-good story about a droid who discovers that he has force powers. I mean, that sounds really interesting, first of all, because force powers has been done so much in Star Wars, and it's always the same kind of people that it kind of gets a bit boring or repetitive. Like you have, Omega, she must have force ability because she looked at Rex and said you're old. Or different characters, they must assume they have force abilities. We have definitely not explored a droid having force powers. That could be really exciting. Because, as I just said, it's something we haven't explored, and they could go at it in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, and I've heard from what I saw, this is going to be a comedy, right? And again, that's I think the thing I think we're going to say with this is kind of like I think a good analogy for this is like a Quality Street box or a Celebration box of chocolate, right? There are a few you're going to like. There's a few you don't like, but there's going to be loads you do love.
Yeah.
And there's going to be some that are for you and some that aren't. But I think all of them sound amazing. And especially this just sounds like it's going to be, it's very wacky, the idea of a droid with force powers. But I want to see this now. You could sell me that as a premise for a film and I'd watch it. You tell me like K2SO with force powers, I'm watching that film.
100%.
I'm pre-ordering the tickets for that. I'll pre-order 2. I'll pre-order 1 for me and 1 for you. We'll do a podcast episode immediately afterwards. It's that. It's, if you can sell me on a premise like that, that's that ridiculous, and you can do it in a TV show episode as well, in an anime style, which is the style that it would suit the best, probably. This sort of, and I've seen the images, and the images look so nice, and they're completely different. Again, I think that's the theme we're gonna get, is they're completely different from all of the others. Like I said, I think a variety pack is the best way to describe this show.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a good description. It's definitely inspired by Astro Boy. A lot of people have been describing this anime style is very similar to Astro Boy, and that again can only be a good thing. I haven't seen I think it's a TV show, isn't it? Astro Boy. I've definitely seen the movie, and that was a good movie. Watched it with my dad. Good times, but it can only be positive. not really much left to say about episode 8, apart from the fact that I think it's a really cool premise and one I am looking forward to. Let's talk about the last episode, episode 9, which is called The Ninth Jedi, perfectly. This is done by Production IG. So, Michael, have you seen anything from this anime studio?
I think this. God, I just got to get up there. This is one of the ones I do not know, haven't seen anything from anime related. However, we have seen stuff from them, both of us. And I think we have seen is they contributed to some of the design for the Lair of Grievous episode of the Clone Wars. So they've done Star Wars before. I mean, it's not, they designed they designed Nadar Webb, the character, the guy, the calamari. He's skewered, I think, is the best way to describe the calamari.
Very dislikable.
But that was a good episode, The Lair of Grievous. And I think the thing is they'll know Star Wars because they've worked on it, and so this is promising. I think even just I think this is the case with every episode. The title is super intriguing, and I think it's hard to tell where they're going with any of them, right? But each one sounds like it's going to be, like, it could be good.
Yeah.
Not one of them have I been like, this has no potential. This isn't going to go anywhere. I think you've got the same opinion. Like you said with one of them, this is not my kind of thing. But each of them sounds interesting and could be good. I think that's a running theme for us is this might not be for us, but if it turns out good, it will be really interesting to watch.
Yeah, 100%. This is the episode that's going to be the longest, but slightly, because The Ninth Jedi was originally meant to be a two-parter, but the two stories were merged into one. So I reckon this will be around an hour, maybe longer. We'll have to see. It's set after The Rise of Skywalker. So it's set after episode 9, and it's exploring the future of the Jedi Knights after the fall of the New Order. And this episode is described as a galactic level adventure. And I'm not going to lie to you, in terms of what we've seen from plot, this sounds the best. This sounds very exciting. It's long, so it's got time to explore the plot, and it's a galactic level adventure. Sounds awesome.
It sounds like this is going to be like not like a small feature film length, like 45 minutes to an hour, I guess. And I think, like you said, it's got the time to explore this. It's got time to develop, I guess, this character who I'm guessing is going to be the Ninth Jedi. I'm guessing by the title is going to be the focus. And, we might not know much about it, but I don't think I really need to be sold on a lot of these ideas. You can give me the episode name and I'm sold on watching any of them. It's just a question of, is it going to be well executed and can it be pulled off, I guess. I think this is, again, it sounds, just based on the name, it kind of sounds similar to the Elder or the Duel or, but they all very, those two are supposed, these three, I guess, are very focused on Jedi or multiple Jedis, right? But they all have a very different name and all seem to have very different ideas because of the different studios and are doing very different things. Like you said, this is a galactic level adventure, right? And the other ones are very, like, especially the Elder, we know it's just going to be set on one planet, or it sounds like it's going to be set on one planet. And this is, I guess, going to go on like a sort of an adventure, which I guess the other ones will not have the time to do, or if they do, it'll be, a bit of a snappier pace, whereas this is going to have the time to, develop the story and go somewhere with it.
Yeah.
Which doesn't mean the other ones won't be as good, but it means that this one also has potential to do, again, something very different to the other ones.
Yeah, it really does have that potential. It also has a great cast behind it. So it stars two Marvel actors or people who have been voicing them. So first of all, it stars Kimiko Glenn, who voiced a character. I forgot their character name in Spider-Man Into the Spideyverse, which I think is fantastic. I really love that film. I think that's anime, isn't it?
Let's not go there.
Right, we won't get into it because
Kinda.
that
They have
might
they have
trigger a few people.
they have one character that's anime,
Well, there you go. One of them is, and the other
meant to
Marvel,
be.
yeah, meant to be. The other Marvel actor who features in this is Liu, sorry, who plays Shang Chi in Shang Chi, the Ten Rings, or I've forgotten the full title, but Shang Chi and the Ten Rings, which is in cinema now. So a bit of free promotion for the cinemas. But yeah, so again, nice to have two actors that we know. I haven't seen Shang-Chi yet, but a lot of people say that Simu Liu is really great in it, and it's a great film. So I definitely have optimism. And with Marvel actors, there aren't really any bad actors really in Marvel. They always get the great cast there. Casting team's unbelievable, and all the characters are pretty much perfect for their role. So that definitely makes it very encouraging, and I'm very much looking forward to it. That kind of sums up all the episodes. What I'd like to leave on is, Michael, what is the episode you're most looking forward to?
I think I am going to go with the twins.
Mm,
I think I think it's partially because of the studio, but partially a lot of the images we've seen in the trailers just look absolutely insane,
yeah,
but in the best possible way. It's kind of everything I want from an anime, like a Star Wars anime, just absolute bonkers stuff, like you said, like the two twins fighting on top of two. I think they look like conjoined Star Destroyers.
yeah,
That's all I want. I mean, that just sounds, amazing. And I guess we don't know whether they're both going to be Sith fighting each other, which would be really interesting, or if one of them is going to turn to the light side and then fight the other one. And again, depending on the length, they've got a lot of time to develop that. And if not, I'll be interested to see how they do it in like, a 30 minutes or so format.
yeah.
I mean, which one are you looking forward to the most then?
So it's very tough. There's definitely a top three that I'm looking forward to most. So I think I know which ones I'm most looking forward to. First of all, in a close joint second, the Duel,
Yeah.
really exciting. The anime style looks awesome. It black and white, with the stuff in the trailer looking really cool, and the Ninth Jedi as well. Very excited. Going to be a longer one. Got some Marvel actors in the cast, and it's described as a galactic level adventure. So, I mean, what more do you want? But the one I'm most looking forward to is Tatooine Rhapsody. I
Yeah.
mean, I am so intrigued by this episode. It could just be amazing. As I said earlier, it reminds me of Sonic Underground, which I loved as a kid. So if it reminds me of something that I used to love as a kid, it definitely has me excited. And also, from what I've been told about the anime Studio Colorido, we have just such a nice animation. I reckon it'll probably be the most visually pleasing, the one that will look potentially the nicest. And then on top of all of what I've just said there, it's got appearances from Jabba the Hutt and Boba Fett, who's more voiced by Tamora Morrison. I mean, I'm just really looking forward to that one. And that, for me, is the episode I'm most looking forward to. But yeah, I think that wraps up our podcast talking about Star Wars Visions and all that's going on with that. Bit of a long one, so if you've stick with us till the end, Thank you very much. We appreciate you. Michael, thank you for joining me.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
No worries, buddy. We're very much looking forward to seeing this show. Comes out in September. We're going to keep doing our weekly content where you'll get different things, not all the same thing after we did Bad Batch, just basically Bad Batch for a long time. But yeah, thank you for watching. Remember to like, subscribe, comment below what you think about Star Wars Visions and if you're excited. And finally, as always, may the Force be with you.